Okay, so let me give you a quick example today, and then we'll see how it relates back to you. You'll have seen this plenty of times on stage when you have comedians and they go in and they have a couple of jokes which they read. For example, say they read 10 jokes and each and every one of them is just an absolute ballsy. It's an absolute knockout. And you think to yourself, how do they know which are the ones that are going to work? How do they know? And it's just one after the other after the other. And at the end of the show, you're like, wow, this person is a professional. This person is fantastic. He knows exactly what to do and he's done a fantastic job today. Well, I'll tell you a little bit of a secret today of how any particular comedian would have 10 jokes and all of them being knockouts and absolute hits. Here's how it works. What you don't see behind the scenes is before that particular comedian managed to get the big contract, he was possibly doing low-scale mini gigs wherever he got a chance. And what would have happened is he would have gone to just wherever and whenever he would have had the opportunity and he would have worked his way through. So he'd have gone onto stage with a list of 10 jokes, which he was going to use on any particular day. And what would have happened is he'd have read the first joke and it lands and it's an absolute knockout. So he makes a note of that and he says, okay, so that's a really good joke. It worked really well. I know going forward, this is the one that I'm going to use again. And then the next 9, not so good. And he doesn't really seem to get much of a positive response from it. So he knows, okay, so going forward, these 9, perhaps I won't use them. But he has one which is really good and it really works. So in his next gig, he has this one joke which really works, and he comes up with another 9 new jokes, and he tries to land them again just to see what works and what kind of delivery method is out there. And 1 or 2 of those might land as well. The rest might not. And eventually, through a process of elimination, as he's working through, he'll come to a point where all of his jokes are knockouts. All of his jokes are spot on. They're really 110%. And at that point, he knows that he can go onto any stage with his list of 10 jokes, which he knows work. He knows that they already work. And he can start delivering them. And essentially, what we see on stage is the end result of that process of elimination, where he's been through all the trial and error, where he's been through the ones that do work, he's been through the ones that don't work, and he's compiled his list of 10 mega ultra jokes, which always work. And essentially, it's quite similar with social media as well. Because what you'll have to do is in the beginning, I'm sure you're coming out with loads of content and you're producing it and it's all out there. And then you get to a point where you think, okay, right. Now, what do I do now? What's going to be the next step? And this is where you produce all your content and you begin to measure your KPIs. Now, KPI stands for Key Performance Indicator. One of the main things you'll be noticing is engagement. Now, with engagement, what you'll be looking at is what kind of response you're getting. Here's a little clue. The number needs to be going upwards. So as long as the figures are rising in an upward direction, that's generally a good sign. It shows that you're getting the kind of response that you're looking for. So what then you would do is you've got all this engagement, and then you just see which type of content is performing the best. And then just as a comedian would do, to find his best jokes and keep them going forward, you'd find the best types of content that you have and keep producing more of it. And it really is as simple as that. So how is your role a bit like a comedian? Well, simple, really. You're just going to be putting all your content out there, seeing which one is the best fit, and producing more of the same. And that's our takeaway for today.